Halloween. It was fucking
We'll
Halloween.
talk about Halloween. We'll talk about Halloween because that's going to come up like right now.
That's how we'll start. Halloween.
Yeah.
All right,
I
you ready?
figured as much.
Here we go.
Sure.
5, 4, 3. What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 32 of the On the Runs podcast. We are coming to you virtual again today, and Erika is laughing her ass off right now. What's going on, Erika?
Eric can't count. I'm doing well, man.
I was counting just fine, but I was counting the wrong number. The fingers I was doing on my hands. I was saying 3, and I was showing you a 4.
Yeah, same thing. Whatever.
How are you? Are you in a little bit of a sugar hangover right now from Halloween and trick-or-treating?
You know what? I did not get my fair share of Halloween candy this year, but I did just woof a sandwich, so that's contributing to my happiness. But you had a whirlwind Halloween yourself.
3 straight nights of trick-or-treating, and I am tired. And let me tell you, my boys, 1.5 years old, they figured it out pretty quickly what was going on, and they picked it up. They were like, they didn't want to be held. They just wanted to go to the next house, and they would go and grab a fistful of candy with whatever they could with their little tiny hands, and then they would put it in their bucket, but then they would want to hold on to it, and they wouldn't want to let it go, and they would be like, no.
They had the best costumes I've seen in a long time. I give you wicked credit for it.
Thank you.
Don't tell everybody what they were.
Thank you very much. So for people who are into classical movies, Dumb and Dumber, Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels, they dressed up for the little owl convention of the Save the Owls in the blue and orange tuxedos. That's right.
Okay.
I dressed my boys up in those blue and orange tuxedos. And let me tell you this, when I found out we were having twins, had to be one of the first 3 things I said. I can't wait for Halloween and dressing these 2 up. Dumb and Dumber, Wayne and Gar from Wayne's World. That will be awesome.
Yes.
I can do so many, Maverick and Goose. I can do so many cool costumes with these 2.
Start making a list, man, because they're going to grow out of those costumes. I would use those as long as you can, though, because those are fantastic. But start making a list.
Well, they will not fit in those for much longer. The orange, it's funny. I had to buy them separately, and the orange one was like 18 months, and the blue one was 12 months, and it's just the way it worked out. So the blue one was a little tight. It was a little tight, but it worked. It got the job done. You know what will be cool?
Nice.
I know this will happen because in college, we would always have some pretty fun costume parties. I guarantee you, if these 2 kids go to college together, they will dress up in these tuxedos again in college. And it will be like it'll be like, in 2022 picture here and a 2038 picture there or whatever. Wow, 2038.
Something like that, right?
They'll do it.
That'll be so cool.
They will do it. Yeah, so Halloween was fun. 3 straight nights of trick-or-treating. We went out to, friends invited us on Saturday night and Sunday night, and then we went to my parents' house on last night, Monday night, and trick-or-treated. And the circle I grew up on is half-a-mile circle, about 20 houses. It used to be the spot in Sandown. It used to be the spot because it was the only place to go that you could park everywhere and you could walk in a circle. And now there's all these other developments built around the area. So people don't travel to the circle like they used to, but it's still a lot of fun to go back home and to trick-or-treat around the circle. It's a blast.
Nice. Yeah, sadly, I wasn't home last night because we get a ton of kids, and I don't have the patience for that. So I'm kind of the Scrooge of Halloween.
Where'd you go?
We went out to dinner. I had Thai food. I don't eat Thai food very often.
I thought you were going to go to Katie's house.
Nah, I decided not to. But Katie goes all out. She even does Jello shots and stuff for the adults. It's pretty. She gets into it, but I'm more of a Christmas person. I'm like, bring on Christmas right now. It's November. I'll take it.
So last year Danielle had a party, and she didn't do it this year.
No, she was out hiking. I had asked a bunch of people. I'm like, hey, what's Danielle doing? Like, we haven't heard anything. And then I found out she was hiking, I think in New York. She was doing is that where the Adirondacks are?
That is correct.
That's me. So she was doing some serious hiking, but I got to give it to her. She is very dedicated to her hobby. I don't
So
know if you can even call it a hobby.
well, you know what she did
More than a
today?
hobby.
She drove 5 hours to Baxter State Park in Maine today to then sit
Yeah.
in a line for 3 hours to register to hike. What's the mountain out there?
Katahdin?
Yes, thank you. To register to hike there in
Telling
the
you.
winter. 5 hour drive, 3 hour wait in line, and then a 5 hour drive back just to sign up and to get like
She's a serious hiker. This is her cup of tea. So
well, let's go back to Danielle's Halloween party 1 year ago.
sure.
We just started the podcast, kind of. We were like figuring everything out. And
Yep.
we sent who an Instagram message.
Oh, was it my Bex? Oh, I love you, Bex.
And what just happened in Beck's life?
She just had her baby. Oh, sorry to squeal on the podcast, but I'm so happy for her. So I kind of had an inkling that it had happened a little while ago because I was signed up to do a bunch of her classes, like a live class here and a live class there. But then all of a sudden she was off the schedule and I was like, she must have had the baby. But Instagram silence, that's usually where I get my news. But yeah, and then the other day she finally posted something and I was super excited. Yeah, she had a little girl.
Oh, girls are awesome. I
Yeah.
was so excited when I had a daughter
Mhm.
1st. It was a blast.
Yeah. So I'm happy for her.
Is
Way to
there
go, coach.
is there a name?
I think it's Tallulah. How cute is that? I'm super excited for her.
That is a wicked cute name. Well,
Mhm.
congratulations, Bex. We'll next time Erika and I are together, we'll send you a little video message like we do. We have fun with that. We've sent her like 3 or 4 in the past year, and she responds to
No.
everyone.
But you just like to embarrass me. That's what it is. I get super like giggly and well, just like right now. So that's usually what happens on video though.
She enjoys it, and she
Mhm.
responds to everyone, and she's like, "You guys are so cute," or "It looked like a great
That's
day to
because
run."
she's the best coach ever. I love her. So, anyways, we're gonna let her have her maternity leave and time with baby in Austin. So we'll leave her be for a little bit, and then then we'll get back to our regular scheduled videos.
Congratulations, Bex. Kids are amazing. I'm so happy for you, and I can't wait to watch the journey. Somebody else needs a little bit of a congratulations, too. Recent guest of ours, Mark Dubrick.
Yes. Oh my God, Mark, you are an Iron Man. And a pretty damn good one at that.
Well, he's in half Ironman, but he is also 22nd in the world after the 70.3 Ironman World Championships last weekend in St. George, Utah. And he had, what a week. Do you remember when we had Scott on? Oh, that's a bummer. We are supposed to interview Scott tomorrow, and he's got the dreaded COVID. So that's
like
good.
A virtual interviews in our future.
Yeah, I don't want to do a virtual. It'd be so much better at
I
Scott's
know.
house. We'll figure that out. But besides,
Yeah.
remember Scott was like, hey, Breakfast with Bob. I live my life. I watch Iron Man stuff, Marvel movies, and Breakfast with Bob. Well,
I sent that to you. Well, I think I saw that. But Bob Babbitt, that's his name, right?
Bob Babbitt. Mark got on Bob Babbitt. And the best part is Mark reached out to Bob to get on.
Really?
So Mark is an up-and-coming professional triathlete. You know, he mostly does the short triathlons. He's just started last year to dabble in half Ironmans, long distance. And he's done very well. He came in second in Maine. I think he came second or third in Memphis. And then he came in second or third in Cozumel. So he's done 3 halves and he's podiumed on every half.
Wow.
So
that's super impressive.
So he got invited to World Championships by qualifying. And he got on Breakfast with Bob, and he kind of was telling his story, kind of like how he told us. And he had an amazing swim. He was second out of the water. How about that? Second out of the water.
Seriously, so impressive. That's incredible.
So swimming is his...
My doggy paddle. My doggy paddle would not keep up with that.
Swimming is his strong suit, that's for sure. And I think he would tell us that biking out of the 3 is his weakest. Not that he's a weak biker, but he's a really good swimmer and a really good runner. So he expected to get past a lot, and he was talking to Bob about saying, hey, I can't let that get to me. So he did get past a lot, and I want to say off the bike, he was like 28th, around there,
Okay.
top 30. And then he was running like these amazing splits on the run, and he moved all the way up to 22nd overall. So he is 22nd in the world.
Well
70.3
done,
World
Mark.
Championships.
Very, very well done.
Nice job, buddy. Congratulations. That was awesome. So,
Yeah. So I want to give a quick shout out before we get into the other half of the Angela interview. So New York City is this weekend. And I
okay.
remember how awesome New York City was for me last year because that's when I met my favorite Peloton trainers. I got to meet Robin and I got to meet Mr. Wilpers. So that was an incredible day for me. But this year, our friends Stephanie Swan and Dave Belvo are going to
That's
experience
right.
it for themselves. So I want to just wish them the best of luck. It looks like they're going to have a great day. Knock on wood, because you never know. Weather is very unpredictable, but looks great for them so far. And just trust your training, enjoy yourselves, soak up the crowd, and go get that medal.
Good luck, Stephanie, and good luck, Dave. I'm excited for you. It's going to be a cool weekend. Look for my sister out there. She might be out there. I was just messing with my sister. I'm going to tell you this now, and I won't tell her I was messing with her. Ashley got a new phone number today. And so I've been calling some people on the phone as she's at work, to say, hey, this is her new number, family. I called my mom, and I act like I'm a political person, Hey, we want to get you out to vote, right? So I've called Hannah.
Rude.
I've called her a couple times. She doesn't pick up. Then I'm texting her, hey, Hannah, we really need to get you out on November 8th to vote. Then I call her again an hour or two later. Then I'm saying, hey, Hannah, why aren't you returning all my calls or texts? We really need to get you out to vote. Let's talk about who we should vote for.
Oh, that's a dick move, bro. Did you eventually be like, dude, it's your brother? Like,
no. And
Ashley?
the best part is she usually listens in the morning, so she's going to figure it
Oh,
out.
so she still doesn't know.
Yeah. Well, I was doing it like just before we were even up here recording. So she'll find out when she hears this. I'm going to let this one go. Usually I give it up after a little bit, but.
Well, hopefully she doesn't block you before she figures it out.
One other thing. So Ashley constantly forgets my birthday for some weird reason. She doesn't forget the time, but my birthday is 7/22. She always writes down those 7/21. Like, I'm like, come on. It's been 8-9 years. Come on. And so she can never forget my birthday now because.
Are those some of her digits?
The first three, the outside of 603, it's 603 722. I'm like, if you can't remember my birthday, just look at your phone number.
That's a good device. I like that.
Yeah. So, that's great. I think people want to hear the Angela Pohl interview.
Oh yeah, let's get right into this because Angela has some gems to share with us. So we want to hear those.
So we had a great month of October. It is November now officially. Tonight is the 1st, and this will be out tomorrow on the 2nd. It is the end of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but we are not done with our portion. So Angela, her interview was awesome. It went so long where we're like, we'll break it up. And I really had to kind of like break things up. So this first story you're going to hear about Chicago was like the first thing she told us. And then we got into breast cancer and then we got into more stories. So I kind of like pieced it together, did the breast cancer first. Now it's going to be, I wonder, like when you listen, could you figure out when I like cut away from one thing and then went to the other? I don't know if you're shaking.
I don't know, man. You're really good at the editing stuff these days.
Well,
I'm impressed by your skills.
Learning something new every day. So tell me if you think you could figure it out when you listen to this one. But Angela was awesome. We're kind of getting back to storytelling now here with just fun running stories to share. And she did this. She posted this today because she wants to tell people, hey, my Chicago story is going to come out. It's too long to make on one Instagram post. So you'll have to hear it on the podcast.
Oh, right.
And she wrote, D.D.W.A.D. Don't do what Angela did.
Oh my God, I love it. Don't do what Angela did. I mean, if somebody can learn something from your experience, Angela, you've done well. So, oh man.
Well, you might run thousands of races. And every once in a while, you'll still mess something up, and it was proof of it. It was her 15th marathon, and she really messed a couple things up. And it was a great story. Thanks for sharing us. So I think it is time for everyone to hear part 2 of Angela's story. What do you think?
Absolutely. I'm ready to re-listen to this, so let's get into it.
Well, I'm glad you brought up running because we're a running podcast, and I want to talk about how.
That's right.
Yeah, I want to talk about how we found you. So a couple weeks ago, we had Jackie Hellier on, and at one point, we followed you, and you followed us, and I'm like, this Angelo girl seems awesome. Then, within 24 hours, I get a message from Erika.
Jackie had sent me her profile, and she's like, "You need to talk to Angela." And so I'm like, "Hey, Eric, here we go. We got our next guest. We got to line her up."
And I'm like, I just found her too.
That's great.
Around that time, you were getting ready for Chicago. Erika was getting ready for Chicago.
That after you guys contacted me.
Right. I'm so bummed. I never got to meet up with Jackie in Chicago either, so it was kind of a bust. I didn't get to see many people at all.
But you got to meet up with Jackie.
Did.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
And that was one epic hug.
Oh my gosh, you guys, I don't know if she showed any of the video that was taken, but that was only one of probably about 20 separate hugs that we gave each other. And there were a lot of tears when we met.
So let's stick with Chicago because I believe you have quite the story to share with us about your Chicago Marathon experience.
Well, yeah. So Chicago for me was like, okay, so one, we haven't talked about the breast cancer stuff, but I just finished treatment in June. I think that was my last chemo was in June. And so I had already started Chicago training in May, like even before chemo had finished. And at the same time in May was when I decided to switch to being a plant-based runner. And I wasn't sure how plant-based because I was still learning about all this stuff. But I know that it's recommended, that you can help, I guess, decrease your chances of your risk of recurrence once you've had cancer with a lot of plant-based foods. And so I thought, well, this is one way, since I don't have any ongoing like pills or anything to take, like this is one way I can feel like I have some control. Not that you can ever control whether you get cancer or not, but it's one way I can reduce my risk. So I decided in May to start trying this plant-based thing. And I've ended up like pretty much being vegan, except for the occasional like cupcake that friends bake or something like that I know has egg in it. But I thought it would be a fun experiment once chemo had finished to see if I could actually train for a full marathon, like do all the work, do all the training and run it like as a plant-based athlete, because there's not a lot of us out there. And I wasn't sure if I'm going to stick with it completely, but I thought, it's a training cycle. I can try it and let's just see. Like that would be a fun way, just to see if it's possible. And then I can decide after that, what I want to do. So I started that training, and actually the training went really, really well. And I can't tell if it went so well just because once I stopped chemo, I felt awesome, and I could,
I mean, that doesn't hurt. That definitely doesn't hurt.
Yeah. So that it's like kind of confounded with a little bit of that and my body coming back and I'm starting to feel a little more normal again.
Yeah.
But I did the work. I did I think the highest I got to was an 18 miler was the long run. I didn't do, it wasn't like some training cycles I've had in the past. I've done like multiple 20 milers and, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm just working my way back. So
very nice. That's great.
Yeah. So the training went well. And I went into Chicago thinking like, I think I'm going to go for well, I don't know about you guys. Like, do you look at your Garmin, what it says that it predicts you can run versus like what some of the other apps and things?
I know it can do that, but I don't think I pay attention to mine because mine's
Oh, you
always
don't?
way
Okay.
mine's always way lower, and I'm like, I can't do that. So I run on feeling
mine
that
is
day.
too. Mine is too, but I know the pattern for me is almost like whatever it says. If I add like 20 or 30
Right,
minutes,
right, yeah.
of what it thinks that I should be able to do, that's probably where I'll end up.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
mine, after all the training, said like 434 is
that's
what
great.
it estimated.
Okay.
And I had this goal of trying to run a sub 5 because I ran Chicago in 2017 when I was, 5 years younger, and I was very fit, and I was trying for a sub 4 at that time.
I ran that one, and that was a brutal year. That was a hot race.
It was, and I really didn't account for like the heat because I was so fixated on I have to sub 4. I have to keep whatever pace it is to sub 4.
Yep.
And I ended up like dry heaving at mile 6. This was back in 2017.
Oh, yeah.
And I just had the worst attitude at the time for the rest of the race.
Oh, no.
And I probably cried. Not, there's run, walk. Well, I cried for about 10 miles or so, and just felt awful. And I knew like people were watching me and on the app. And I actually I typed on Facebook while I was walking. I was just walking anyway. And I said, guys, please stop following me. Please stop tracking me. I was basically like dramatically going to crawl into a corner and, cry or whatever.
Yeah.
So, and even though my goal at that time was a sub 4, I ended up, my result there was 5 hours and like 16 seconds or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought this time, what if I could, like 5 years wiser, what if, even though like all the cancer stuff and my body's not what it was before, what if I could still like get a course PR?
There you go.
5 hours and have fun doing it and have a better attitude and then actually enjoy the Chicago.
That's the best attitude. You got to just enjoy yourself. So did it happen?
And I did enjoy it. And I did not get anywhere near my goal, but I'll explain a little bit more about why now. But it was kind of like a fun goal to have, because my previous marathon to that was when I ran Indy last year, almost exactly a year ago. And I mean, I was fully still in chemo with that, and I was just walk-run training.
Oh, wow.
And so I finished in 6 hours and 6 minutes. So I definitely, wanted to beat that. But, when you go through, I decided at one point when you go through cancer and chemo, you get to reset all your PRs and start all over again. So.
Yeah. It's like a new you. So you absolutely get to redo that. That's an impressive feat. Congratulations.
Thank you. So Chicago, though, what happened out there was, the day that we had was, I mean, in my mind, perfect weather, like last weekend.
Agree.
I really couldn't have asked for any better. Maybe a little less sun, just because, once you're in the sun for 5 or 6 hours. But like in terms of the dew point being in the 30s, even though the temp might have been in the 50s and the 60s, like it felt awesome. It felt amazing. And so seeing that and knowing like I feel well tapered, my body feels great, I'm definitely going to get 5 hours, maybe even like, I don't know, maybe 450, maybe,
right.
So I went into it with that level of confidence. Now, all along, I had been testing out different stuff with my fueling and hydration. And have you guys ever tried Scratch Super Fuel?
That is what I use all the time.
So I discovered that this past year, and that's what I used on all my long runs. And, I would leave like extra bottles of it for me. And I was just using that mostly. And
Yep.
I love it so much. And I'm not an ambassador or anything like that.
Me either, but I love that stuff too.
Erika keeps telling me to get on it. She keeps telling me every time we're at a big race, she goes, "Oh, you should try some scratch labs." I'm like, well, I haven't tried it yet, so I'm not going to try it this time because I don't want the code brown.
You do have to get used to it, but it's good to use instead of like a gel because I cannot handle that texture of a gel. Like it just throws me off.
So I've tried all different kinds of gels, and I tend to be pretty good at using any kind of gels, but I fuel a lot, like during the races. And so you just get so sick of the sweetness of all the gels. And so get this, during Indy last year, I was out there for 6 hours. I had 13 maple syrup gels.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's rotting my teeth
13.
Just thinking about it.
Yeah, I know. I wanted nothing to do with it after, for many
Understandable.
months. But with this Scratch Super Fuel, I was using it all summer, and we had mostly I trained in 100% humidity and varying amounts of the temperature, and it's only more recently been dropping, but still humid, and you're still sweating, or I still sweat. But on the day of the race, I was probably not sweating nearly as much as I normally would. And I couldn't, I didn't have a way to have extra bottles of the Scratch Super Fuel I was used to in training. And so I did bring gels as well. And then I was going to use the course drink or water. And then I brought a little Ziploc bag of salt stick tabs.
Okay.
Just to supplement with electrolytes, because I had done that with a number of other races that I was usually sweating a lot more for. And so I had all of it. I was packing a lot of stuff. And so the race went along, and I was trying to use up the Scratch Super Fuel first, because otherwise I'm just carrying all this liquid as I'm going, and it's extra weight. But it's also some of my gels, because one serving of that stuff is 4 gels. It's the equivalent of 4
It
gels.
is. Yep.
And so I started thinking oh shoot, maybe I shouldn't have done it that way, because now I'm using up, I'm front loading a lot of the gels, my energy gels, and then what if I run out and then I bonk at the end or whatever.
Right.
And so at that point I started supplementing with the course drink, which is Gatorade Endurance, which is a lot more sodium.
Now that's what I'm used to.
Okay, so, and I have used high sodium stuff like Liquid IV, during training and stuff, but I think usually not in combination with the Scratch Super Fuel, which is 400 milligrams.
I think I know where this is going.
Right. And so when you start overthinking all your strategies and everything, I remembered that okay, my friend Katie, in her breakthrough race, she had a very cold day. It was much colder than we have in Chicago, and she told me that she ate 17 of these salt stick tabs.
Ooh.
And she felt that was a game changer for her. I don't even remember what course drink or what drink she used, but I was oh, well, if she had 17, I'm going to pack 26 of these things and have 1 per mile and just supplement as I go. And then, I kept remembering oh, and then this one friend, she did this. Never mind that I didn't try any of this during training. Okay. I just got busy race morning, and I was I think, yeah, this is a good idea. Okay. So I had already taken some salt before the race, with my breakfast, and then standing there in the corrals, you have to stand there for a long time. And I was already drinking some of the Super Fuel. I already needed to use the bathroom. I did not time that well at all. I thought I thought, well, I'm just going to stay. I was in the last corral, like the last corral, N of wave 3. And so I thought, well, I'll just stay in my hotel room a little longer, use the bathroom there, then go in, mix my super fuel because they said not to like bring it in bottles.
Yep.
Which didn't seem to matter because they just let me through anyway. So it seems like
I wish I would have known that too, because I had to make mine at the with their water stations.
That actually took me a long time to like do that because it just wasn't shaking the way it does in a shaker bottle.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I wasted all my time doing that instead of I should have been in a porta potty, I think.
Yeah.
But then by then, I was in the corral and I was like snaking my way up to the front, even though I wasn't there as long as the other people and nobody was noticing. So I'm in the front. I get a good spot near the front of the last corral because that corral was like for 5:30 to 5:45. And I was hoping for the 5, so I was like, well, I don't want to get stuck behind like a whole bunch of people walking and stuff. Right. So I was near the front and then I really, really needed to use the bathroom already, but they were already closing the corrals. That's okay. I'll just go, a few miles and then maybe I'll spot a porta potty or whatever, once it's not as busy, I'll pull over and stop. But meanwhile, I'm still drinking more of this stuff. And, I did end up stopping at a porta potty. Nothing major. But I've actually never had to in a race before, especially not that early. So I definitely didn't time that right. But then I started getting in my head about, okay, what if I need more calories? Well, I'm sure the endurance has more calories than water, right? So I started supplementing with that, never having done that in practice. And then I started getting really thirsty, but instead of thinking like, well, maybe you should switch to water, instead, I kind of doubled down on the endurance stuff. And then I was like refilling my handheld and it was like pouring 3 race cups worth into the handheld and sucking it down, thinking that would relieve my thirst.
Oh, no.
And continuing to add an extra salt tab, at the mile marker spot, because that was my original strategy, right? And I don't think I realized until maybe about mile 9, that I kind of made a critical error in thinking that I was under electrolyting because I really wasn't sweating that much. And I thought, well, maybe it's sneaky because I think I'm probably sweating, but it's evaporating right away because of the low dew point. This is the story I was telling myself. So I'm probably sweating as much as I normally do. You just can't tell because it's evaporating right away. And so I kept thinking I needed more of these electrolytes. And by the time it started slowing me down and my heart rate was creeping up, and I was on track still for the 5 until probably it was past the 10K mark, even with the bathroom stop. But then once I started slowing down, it was it's like hitting the wall, except I had plenty of energy. My mind I felt energetic, but my body, it was like I was in a Tin Man suit all of a sudden. And it was nothing was moving. And I just I had no hip drive or knee drive or whatever. It was just I was slogging along. And I know that it's not the training or that I went out too fast, because I didn't go out too fast. And I had just done a half at actually significantly faster a couple weeks before. So you can't lose training that fast.
No.
And taper's supposed to make you even fitter, so I knew it wasn't that. And then that's the only explanation I had was, okay, I just oversalted myself. Is there a way I can come back from this? And I had already given up the sub 5 goal because I could see the trajectory of what was happening. And at that point I was just okay, what if I walk a little bit? And then, so I walked, but even my walking was not a fast walking. Like everybody was passing me. And it's like, I actually pulled out my calculator on my phone and I tried to calculate, like, if I can't go more than 20-minute mile of walking for the rest of the race, am I even going to make the 6.5-hour cutoff?
Oh no!
To like finish with a medal? Like, that's how bad it was out there at that point. And so I had switched to water, thankfully. But I feel like it was probably too late at that point. And when I saw like the bananas that they had out there, they had like some cold banana stations. My body was like, oh, that's like the best thing ever. Like, this tastes so good. Like, I'm guessing, I'm not, I don't know for a fact, but I'm guessing I must have really thrown off the sodium potassium balance or something with, taking all those extra salt tabs and stuff.
What a story. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, Angela, this was her 15th marathon. It's not like her first marathon here, guys. She's an experienced runner. It just shows that this happens to all of us at one point or the other. That was awesome.
Yeah. And so anyway, conclusion is don't do stuff you've never tried in training for the first time on race day. I knew that's like, I preached.
Let
that to
alone
all
one
my
thing.
friends.
You tried like 4 things.
Oh yeah. I
It was like taking every little bit of alcohol and putting in a drink and being like, this is how I'm going to try it.
Oh God, jungle juice. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Jungle juice before a marathon.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's the story.
Bad idea.
Well, thank you so much for sharing
Did you wind up finishing before your cutoff though?
I did. So once I started taking just pure water, I must have I helped myself along to the point that I could at least go from walking to like walk slogging. I can't even call it jogging, to be honest. It was just kind of like, okay, let's do the running motion, even if you're not going any faster than somebody walking right by you, but at least like it uses different muscles.
Yeah.
So I could at least do that and pretend for the pictures like I was half running. I did finish in, I think it actually ended up being sub 6, because once I could start picking it up again, I got that calculator back out, and I thought, oh, actually, if I keep, 13-minute pace or 14-minute pace, maybe I could beat sub 6. And just having that goal again, even though it was like an hour
Gave
from
you the
my
drive.
original goal, like that made me stop like all the walks. And I was just like, do you really need to walk right now? And I could keep it going.
Course PR, yes.
That's a great story. I'm glad because it just happened. It's like the exclusive right here on the runs, the Chicago story. No one else has probably heard that on any other platform.
No. Well, no, not at all. And I was, I just didn't have the energy to write it up. And I just, I was
even
like,
better. It's not even on Instagram.
No, I mean, I think I just kind of summarized it in one line of, I think I electrolyte. I don't know. Is that a verb? Electrolyte myself.
It is now. I like that actually.
Oh, that was great. So
yeah. So when you guys asked me to be on here, I thought this is like a perfect opportunity to like tell whoever's, willing to live, my friends that like to hear that stuff. I'll just put it out there and maybe other people will learn from this catastrophe of, errors that I made during the race.
That is valuable information that you shared with us. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Pay attention to the dew point, because that is how you know how much sweat, you're going to have. And if it's suddenly completely different than what you actually trained in, you need to adjust to the amount that you're, taking in, I think.
We had a guest on the show like 10 episodes ago.
Mike Beeman.
And he has what he calls the Beeman points, where you take the humidity, the dew point, and the temperature, and you add those together. And if it's higher than like 200, then you're going to have a tough running day. So I never calculated what it was for Chicago, but I mean, it was pretty nice.
Well, I know for Scott at Kona, it was over 200.
Oh, yes.
So,
Yes, that's
yeah,
rough.
Mike was awesome. He had some great stories. Mike has run in 45 straight Boston marathons.
Wow.
Beast mode.
That's crazy.
So he is
Yes.
he's a local legend in the area, but he lives down south now in Georgia. So he's a running coach at a college somewhere. That was amazing. You know, it made me think of it real quick. The back to the hug at the Bean with Jackie. There was many other hugs there. How many people all met at the Bean right then who were breast cancer survivors or current warriors out there?
Well, so when I met Jackie, I was with a separate group. That was the 4-year run meetup that we had. So I had met her there. Then, like very soon after that, I met up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there were like 5 of us at least. All people that I had met through Instagram, whether they were following me and they had got diagnosed before me or after me, but they were all runners before. Like that was kind of the common thread that we had. And I think it's not that we had all decided we're all going to sign up for Chicago. Like there are a lot more, unfortunately, female runners. I mean, men can actually get breast cancer too, FYI, but it's a lot more rare. But there are a lot of female runners out there that have been through various breast cancer battles, and some of them share publicly, others don't. Like I have met so many because a lot of them just direct message me, and then we start up like talking, just like I did with Jackie, except with others, and we trade notes, and we cheer on each other's running after all of this. And so I hope that like any race that I go to in the future, I'll be able to like meet other survivors as well. And yeah, we did meet at the Bean, and it seemed like every running group was meeting at the Bean because it was really hard to find anybody.
Oh, wow.
It did seem pretty crowded, but maybe that's why I thought originally maybe it was all breast cancer runners right there, because I know Jackie ran for a breast cancer foundation, so that's what had me thinking that.
It's a popular landmark over in Chicago, apparently. So I feel like everybody must have picked it.
I've only driven and flew through Chicago. I've never actually gotten to go downtown Chicago, so I need Erika to do the race again so I can go visit, or maybe I just do the race.
That's my plan, though. Tomorrow's the day where you can sign up for the lottery again for next year.
Are you signing up?
Oh, absolutely.
All right. We might.
That was my 3rd time doing it this year, so I'm going for a 4th.
She says it's
nice.
She says it's her favorite race. She also said the crowd support there was the best. She said it was better than Boston.
I say that with a grain of salt, though, because I did Boston the year that it was just absolutely terrible outside. So the people who did come out were great, but it was not out in full force like usual.
So she now has to run Boston again to compare the differences. But until then, you're going to be... She volunteers at the Boston Marathon.
I do.
And she's going to get me to volunteer next year, and I can't wait.
Yep. We've been doing water stops, the water station. I think mile 2 was the one that I did last year. So it's cool to see all the runners.
I actually went to spectate
the
most recent Boston.
Very cool.
Because my friend Katie of the 17 Salt Tabs, Katie from
Katie.
that race. Yeah, when she BQ'd at that race, like then I surprised her in Boston,
wow.
but she didn't. I hadn't originally planned to go with her, or we would have planned it out. But another friend, Reggie, and I had decided to go and surprise Katie, at Boston when she was there. So we kind of did last minute plane ticket, last minute hotel. But then Reggie ended up getting sick and not being able to go. So I just snuck in and surprised her. So I did get to, I guess, see and be part of that crowd support and screaming for people and tracking them. And it was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Where were you? Do you remember where you went?
I don't know the names of the places.
So you bounced around.
I couldn't tell you, but I did. And again, that was for me like a chance to meet up with other Insta runners. And so I found a couple people that I knew that were also there spectating friends. And so I like made my way walking, trying to get through the crowds to find them. And it was so crowded, like, especially if you start from the back and then keep working your way, back there. It was like 5 or 6 people deep in some places.
Oh, yeah. Closer to the finish line, that's where they get even more crowded.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
That is awesome. I'm glad you got to experience Boston. I hope one day you can run it, because you haven't run it yet, have you?
That has been my goal for, I don't even know, since 2016 or something like that. And I've worked my way down, like, well, this was before the whole cancer thing, but like I had gotten down from a 5:23 first marathon ever to like 4:09. And and the longer I wait, the
I know exactly what you mean. You get more time the older you get.
Erika and I are like, geez, in a couple of years we'll be 40, and our BQ time's going to go down.
I want those extra minutes.
Yeah.
It's going to be helpful.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, see, I thought that at one point, but then like as I started shaving off large chunks of time, then they changed the time, like this was before like the last couple years where now everybody
qualified,
getting in. I hope it stays like that, honestly.
Yes, me too.
But yeah, at one point I thought, okay, now I'm finally training such that my goal marathon pace is like what I'm doing in training, and that would get me a technical BQ. And it's okay if I don't actually make it, but I'll at least, get to say I BQ'd. And then they like changed the time and like took back an extra 5-10 minutes or whatever it was and made it hard again.
Yeah.
This has been fantastic, and we can't let you go without hearing a couple good Code Brown stories. It's not every episode we get a good Code Brown, but if you go to Angela's Instagram and you click on some of the photos, if you read what she actually posts, you'll realize that she's had a couple of these Code Browns and she has publicly shared them on social media. So would you care to share with us a couple of your Code Brown stories?
Oh, let's see. I'll try to recall, but probably it's best if you can find the posts, they're in there. But actually, I can
find it. You sent it to me.
I actually had one even before any of the like chemo Code Brown stories. So I can't tell you what year it was, but it was like a local 5-mile race called the Johnny Cake Jog, and I was like set to, I think I was going to race it for a PR, like, because you're training and it's right there, so you don't even have to travel for it. And so and it was really hot that day, I remember, but I don't even recall anymore like why I was having stomach issues, because I generally have a pretty good tummy, but like by a half mile in, like I could tell something was not going, like something was not right. And like, so I'm only a half mile in though for a 5-mile race. And like to really race a 5-miler, that's like basically like racing a 5K. You're like pushing all out, right?
Yeah.
And so like I had to kind of make that decision, like, is it worth it to like soil yourself for a PR? Is a PR worth it that much, or do you like pull back and just kind of like clench your way to the finish, or because are you really going to stop at is there even a porta potty? I don't think there even was a porta potty.
Yeah, like, those small races at Ziffy, right?
Yeah, I don't even think there was at that point, at the point that I was having issues. But like I think it's a little foggy now because it was so many years ago, but anyway, I'm sure by like mile 4, it was like, it was all over. And I just like, I don't, it's like, I'll at least finish, I'm going to get to the finish, but my PR was not in sight or anything. And I was so uncomfortable. I just wanted to get out of my clothes. And I think, RIP favorite running skirt, but
Oh no.
But yeah, I think I made it to the finish. I told my friend what happened. I think we took a few selfies. I might have even been in a group photo, although I'm sure I was kind of like trying to stay away from people and no hugs or anything. But yeah. So that was probably my first
No sudden movements.
No. That was my first experience in a race. Like, because usually like in training, you can, I don't know, hopefully there's something nearby, or you can like, I mean, I've used my backyard before as well, if I didn't, when I haven't made it all the way back to the bathroom.
That is awesome.
And it's not like I even have that many issues. Like I actually have a really good, stomach for being able to take gels and stuff. But every once in a while, I guess it depends on what you eat, the day before, whatever, if you're not careful. But yeah, so chemo tummy like took it to a whole new level. And that really gave me an appreciation for runners who have a lot of issues, like constantly or on every run, they have to like go after a mile in or whatever. Like I never understood or appreciated that because I never had that issue. But after being in chemo and basically like having these issues when I'm not running even, let alone like, jostling when I run, like I have so much more appreciation for all of the stomach issues and why my friends would say, I can't take a gel, like my stomach won't. And I took that for granted that I can just take, 13 maple syrup gels in a race. So I think it's mostly back, but yeah, there were a couple training runs. One in particular, I remember it was like an 8-miler, and you have my post, but it did not go well, and it kind of ended with the walk of shame back down a hill back home. But
there's this one line you wrote. You go, "Sorry, folks, this is no longer a running or a cancer story account. It's just a shit journal."
It is. And I used, I think the poop emoji was probably my most like used emoji. You know how like it shows you your favorite emojis.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that showed up in the top 3 or something like that at that time. But yeah, I just like, it was like every day I was just basically reporting on, got 3 miles in. There were 8 bathroom stops in the 3 miles.
Oh, wow.
Or barely made it at that time. Like that's what most of my stories, my Instagram stories were. And, like the people that were continuing to follow me were either there for the running or for the cancer and the chemo. And so I figured they could totally relate. So.
Right.
That is awesome. I love that you share. I love it.
All right, so we've kept you for a long time. So we have one more question for you before we say goodbye. We have our own Spotify playlist that we've been asking all of our guests. Would you like to contribute a song? So just anything that gets you pumped up, that helped you along your cancer journey, just anything at all that you like to listen to. Would you like to add a song?
Yes, I would. And actually, that reminds me, I wanted to. So what is the Spotify playlist, like, because I wanted to look it up.
Oh, absolutely. It's literally called On the Runs playlist, and you can search for it on Spotify. I can share the link with you also, but once this episode airs, I'll do a little Instagram story. I'll tag you in it, and I'll put it up with the link and stuff too. So it gets fancy. Which reminds me, I got to do that for our episode 30 guests. But yeah, go ahead and give me your shot. The
song that I would like to add, it's called "The Best Is Yet to Come," and the artist is Shepherd.
Excellent. I actually know.
I don't know if you do know it. I don't remember.
I've heard of Shepherd, but I'm not sure if I know that particular song.
I don't even remember now how I came across it, but it just like. I definitely had it on playlists while I was running during chemo. And I remember like some runs where I just kind of played it repeatedly until I was sick of it. But it was very like uplifting and inspiring. And I just like the message of like the mindset that, the best is yet to come.
That's excellent.
And then my last question is this. I go, creeping through your Instagram and I find a photo, okay? So I found this photo and I want to know, what is a tent doing in your living room?
Oh, that one. Yes. So that was on April 30th or 29th, I think. And that was this year. And so what I was training for in the spring was actually, I turned 48 years old, and I have always wanted to do one of those like run your age in like miles or kilometers or whatever kind of thing. So that was my goal this spring during the not as aggressive chemo, but still chemo. You still, aren't running. So I thought that would be a good goal, because then it would give me like plenty of like run walking miles. And it's an ultra, if you can finish either 50K or 50 miles.
Yeah.
So my training was actually for a 50 miler, because I was going to try to do 48 miles for my 48th birthday. And the race was it's called 024. Outrun 24, and that's where I had done the 100K before. And so this time though, I was gonna do like either 50 miles or the 50K, just to do the minimum to get like to say you did an ultra. And it's a 1 mile loop with a hill that, like, if you were to go on that hill right now, you'd be like, oh, that's the hill, that's not bad. But like 20 miles in or so of the same loop
adds up.
It's like, it feels like a mountain, like as you go. But anyway, the event is awesome. It's local to Northeast Ohio, but people come from all over to do it. Like famous ultra runners come. And it's funny because you're on that 1 mile loop, so you get passed so many times by the fast, the front runners.
Okay.
And anyway, so what you do is you set up, or it's a 24-hour event. And so it's just however many loops you can do in 24 hours. And so that's what the tent, like, you can set up a place there, and that's your station. And so you have an aid station every single mile. Like, you set up a table and you have your tent where you can, like, if you need to, I guess, take a nap or change clothes or whatever. And so I had not done that race since like 2018 or something like that. And so we weren't even sure where our tent was, because it was like pre-pandemic and everything.
Yeah.
So we had to make sure we had a tent, and we couldn't find it. So we could not, like, I don't know what happened to the tent. Neither of us remember like donating it, or maybe the last time when I did the event, we found a hole in it. We decided to chuck it at the end of the event. Neither of us could recall that anymore. So my husband, like the day before the event, went to REI and purchased that tent in the picture so that I would have something, a station. And so he was actually my support system, and other friends came, and that was like our base. And so I had to, of course, we had to make sure we knew how to like set it up, so it wasn't the first time, like when you actually go to stake your spot on the course.
Good practice.
Yeah, and so it happened to be like I finished on my 48th birthday, and I ended up I didn't do the 50 miles. I ended up stopping it at 50K, because I could, like, it was going to start raining, and I would have ended up finishing 50 miles like at midnight or something like that. And I could see my friends wanted to, like, they had a birthday cake. They wanted to like celebrate. So it's like, you know what, guys, I'm 9.5 hours in, and I still feel good. I'm going to call it while I still feel good. And I'm done. I did a 50K on my, 48th birthday.
Good for you. That's so awesome.
Maybe that's what you should do for the hamster wheel.
What?
Just, if you're not
keep going until I don't feel good anymore.
No, I was going to say the opposite. If you're like not so sure, and you're not, just end it when you're feeling good.
Yeah.
And enjoy the rest of the time.
You know what? I can do that. That's fair.
She's doing a very similar race in a few weeks.
Yep.
Oh, good luck.
Thank you.
But I might just keep pushing her for 100.
That's the ultimate goal, but I'm so undertrained. But yeah, we'll see. It's up in the air.
Well, this was awesome. Is there anything else you would like to add before we let you go?
Let me see. I guess, well, since it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I guess one of the reasons that I do share is to just kind of put that message out there that, like, even even if you think you're super healthy and you think you're eating well and didn't drink alcohol, don't smoke, like all the risk factors are there. Even if you have no family history of it, it can still happen. And it's not necessarily like something that you did. It just can happen. And so the only thing that we have to kind of combat that is to try to detect it early before it has a chance to spread to other parts of your body. So if you can, like, at least once a month, check yourself, because even if you are old enough to get a mammogram, which I think you have to be like 40 or something for insurance to cover it, unless you have reason to, like, if you check yourself, and that's a way that you can kind of stay on top of it and know what's normal for you, because you might find lumps because people are lumpy, and you might find that, and most of the time it's nothing, but it's probably better to get it checked out, by a medical professional, just in case. Exactly. And then you'll have the peace of mind. And when I first shared my story, and this was even before the People magazine thing last October, when I first shared just on Instagram, I had at least 3, it might have been 4 women who followed me. Some were actually friends. Like, one was a high school friend that I hadn't heard from forever. And others were women that I didn't know, actually messaged me and thanked me for, like, sharing my story, because it prompted them to either, like, schedule a mammogram that they had been putting off, for many, many years, or they checked and actually did find something. So at least 3 or 4 at that time came back, and they did have an early cancer and got it taken care of, like, way before I was finished with, my chemo and my, all that kind of stuff. And so my hope when they asked me to be in the People magazine article was, well, if that happened with my, I don't know, a couple thousand Instagram followers, and I might have saved potentially 3 lives right there, like, maybe, if I do share my story is public anyway. So why not share it on People magazine too? And who knows, like, maybe somebody reads it, and I have no idea, like, to this day, like, hopefully, that also will save lives. And that's why I keep sharing and will continue to, and hopefully, by the time my daughter and others, get older, like, maybe there will already be cures and vaccines, and we won't have to deal with any of this.
I do hope that day comes someday, but I love your message. Just stay diligent, ladies. It's not hard to do self-exams, but it's just the reminder to do those self-exams, and then just keep on top of your health. I love it. Thank you, Angela. Yes.
And thank you for sharing your story, not only with us, but publicly throughout your Instagram and on all the other outlets you do. That's a great thing to do, is to share your story so your word gets out.
And it does help women. It does. You're doing a wonderful thing.
And that's kind of the hope for what we're doing with this month. So you're closing out the month of October for us.
Thank you so much for having me. And I'm glad that Jackie, introduced me to you guys, and hopefully we'll have a chance to meet at some race in the future in person.
Yes, please.
That would be a blast. If you're ever in the, we'll just call it the greater Boston area, where we're just north of the border here in New Hampshire. But if you're ever in the area, let us know. Come say hi. We'll go for a run.
And I actually need to go to Ohio too. So Erika, I'm trying to do all my states, and I don't have Ohio yet. So I'll let you know.
Do you have a marathon in mind?
Let me know. So, for an Ohio race? Do you know what you're doing?
I don't have one in mind. No, I have no idea.
I mean, I live in Northeast Ohio, so it's like near Cleveland. And we have like a lot of races up here. We're very fortunate. And I used to help organize some of them as well. So I know, like, of all of those. But honestly, like, I have 2 favorite Ohio races. One is Flying Pig. That was like one of the most fun races I've ever done.
I have heard of that one.
It's just like crazy setup with entertainment and everything.
Awesome.
So it's hilly. It's not a great, like,
not a problem. She'll do it.
I would pick hills, or I'll pick hills as long as it's got the great, like, entertainment fun factor. That's a definite like awesome thing for me.
And honestly, the second half, like most of the hills are in the first half, and then you actually get like a net downhill in the second half. So once you've made it through that, and there's just so much crowd support there. So that's a fun one. Mm-hmm. But another one is the Columbus Marathoner half that was just like, it was literally just yesterday.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's always in October, which can be hit or miss with weather, as you know, and
it happens
nowadays,
here too.
Like, it could be 80, it could be 30.
Right.
But yeah, they had great weather, I believe, yesterday. And that one is special because it's like tied with the Nationwide Children's Hospital. So a lot of people fundraise for that. And at every mile marker, there's one of the kids that benefits from the race, and they're there with like those big foam like high five kind of things. And they have their entourage, and I just always remember like mile 11, whether you're doing the half or the full, is like, they call it the angel mile, and it is so emotional. Like for me, it was so emotional every time, like, because it's lined with crowd support of the families who have lost a child, to whatever disease that they were battling, and they're there because they're cheering on you as a runner, like for your race, because it helps to give money to the hospital that help take care of their children. So anyway,
get ready to cry my eyes out if I do that one.
Oh, I did. Like, yeah, I definitely talk about dehydration.
Oh, right.
Well,
no more salt tabs.
Thank you again. Those are some awesome stories, starting off with the Chicago one and all the different supplements you took after it being your 15th marathon. It happens to all of us.
There's always work to do, telling you.
And then your cancer story and the Code Browns. I mean, this one had a little bit of everything. It was great.
That's what we love to hear.
I love talking about running and my experiences, and I just, it's great to have somebody that wants to listen to that, I guess. So
you found the right people.
I appreciate it.
This was awesome. Thank you for doing this. You were fantastic.
Oh, thank you so much. I had fun, just like you said I would.
Let's give it up for Angela. Those stories were fantastic. And since we're on topic, and this is the end of the Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we have to give our thanks to Nikki and Jackie and Nicole and Justine and even Jay. And of course, Angela, for being a part of our series. We really, really appreciate you spending time with us and just sharing your journeys.
This turned out so much bigger and so much more special than I really thought it was going to. It turned into a little, hey, you should really interview my friend. She had breast cancer and she ran and raised money for it. And I'm like, that would be awesome. Let's talk to her in October. Never did I think at the time, let's make the entire month a Breast Cancer Awareness Month and get like 3 or 4 other amazing women on who are breast cancer survivors who will share their stories with us. So that was so awesome. Nikki Bacon,
so awesome.
I feel like that was so long ago we talked to Nikki Bacon. That was fantastic. Thank you for coming on and telling us your story. Jackie was awesome. That was so much fun. The way we found her on Instagram and the stories she had and her kids jumping in and the snakes, the fear of snakes.
That was so fun.
And then Justine and Nicole, thank you so much for letting us be a part of the 5K for Jay and helping you and trying to help get the word out and promote it a little bit on our small podcast and including us in all the little things and even some of the big things. Jay, you're awesome. We can't wait to have you on someday too. Keep the battle. Keep fighting, and we're pulling for you. And we're still, even though October's over, it doesn't mean we're
always here for you. We're always here for you.
That's right. We'll always be here. And then Angela, that was awesome. We could have spoken with Angela for another 2 hours.
She's got some more stories. We could probably do an extra episode with her.
I really think we could. We will wait till the summertime.
More emergencies.
Yeah, her shit journal.
Oh yeah. Dig deep into that Instagram stories and come up with some topics for us.
I loved it. I love that she says, this is no longer a running journal. This is my shit journal. That was great. So awesome. Hey, we got to talk Hamsterwheel, but I want to tell you one thing. my brother,
Sure.
my brother ran a race this weekend. He ran.
What'd he do?
Okay, he did a UTMB race.
Really?
And can you tell some people what the UTMB is? Because you're going to do a better job than me.
So, to my knowledge, UTMB is Ultra Trail Mont Blanc, right? But so I know that's like the special one that's in France, but they have a whole trail series?
I didn't know that either, but he was in Mexico, and we knew for a while he was going to do this. He tried to get a few of us to go. I couldn't make it. My mom and my sister actually bought plane tickets to go, and then they canceled that for some reason. I think they thought the race was going to get canceled. But he's in Mexico. He was doing the UTMB. Oh, my God, I'm not going to say this right. Puerto Vallarta?
Puerto Vallarta.
Thank you.
Is that it?
Sure.
Puerto Vallarta.
Which is like on the western coast of Mexico.
You know I don't speak Spanish. Sorry.
You are my go-to for pronunciations here. So he did this race.
I mean, I try.
But the story of this race is this. He sent us all the tracking info, and I didn't forget that he was racing, but I wasn't tracking him. And then it's the night, and I get a text from my sister who lives in New York, and she says, hey, she sends me a screenshot. What does this mean? And it says he should be at the next aid station any minute now. But she goes, it's been like that for hours. I'm like, well, how long? And she goes, 3 hours. And I'm like,
uh-oh.
Well, maybe the app's not working, because I look at the old the old breaks and transition areas, and I'm like, it looks like one other one didn't record, so maybe it's an app issue. And then I pretty much told her before I went to bed, which I fell asleep on the couch, like trying to keep refreshing.
Follow along.
I said, well, I'll tell you what. Either the app's not working, the tracker's not working, or he got pulled by medical. I go, he's not dead on the side of the trail somewhere in Mexico. He didn't get taken by any cartel. And she's like, I hope not. And so,
oh my God.
and we're kind of thinking, I wonder if mom's following and all this, and does she know what's going on? But I don't say anything. I wake up at like 6 a.m. Again, I fell asleep on the couch, and I got a missed call from him at 2:30 in the morning. A couple text messages, and the text message says, not going to the hospital. And I'm like, not going to the hospital. And I'm like, oh, yeah, he's in the race. What happened? Did he break a bone or something?
Uh-oh.
And then I checked the voicemail. I want to play this voicemail for you. You ready?
Okay.
Hey, it's me. I'm just letting you know. They're making me go to the hospital, so I'm going to get some IV and fluids and stuff. And I don't know if they'll make me spend the night or not. I can't just stop throwing up and compulsing. And I've just been awake for like 30 hours straight. So I'm walking in the morning. I'm feeling better. They wouldn't let me stop. I just want to let you know. It's Puerto Vallarta, the hospital. Is there La Jolla? The hospital is La Jolla in Puerto Vallarta. I'll call you when I'm out. All right, buddy, later.
Dude, Alex, what did you do? That is insane. All right, I need to know more about this race. Like, what was the distance of this race? Like, do you know that off the top of your head?
Might have been 100. Might have been 100K. I don't know. It was 100.
Okay.
It was 100 miles, and I think he got 60-something miles in. I don't know anything about the race, and I told him, don't tell me. You want to know why?
Why?
Because I want him to tell us here on the podcast.
Yes, okay. Alex, you're on deck.
So let's talk a little bit about what's coming up. The Hamsterwheel this weekend.
Hey-oh. Yeah. That's my big race. I'm doing the 24-hour, and right now I'm just kind of squirreling things into a box. I'll think of like, oh, I should bring like icy hot, and I'll throw like my icy hot in like a big bin. And I'm like, oh, I'll probably need like my night gear. I gotta throw that in the bin. So right now I'm just trying to think of everything I'm gonna need and throw it into a bin. Gonna have a canopy. I'm gonna kind of pimp my campsite. So I'm bringing our banner, so you'll be able to find us. I also have like lanterns. I'm going to decorate it with glow sticks so you guys can find it if I'm out on a lap when you get there and stuff. And I'm going to get some Fireball, because I guess that's what you do when you run ultras.
Really?
It's a thing. I follow an Instagram account that's literally called Aid Station Fireball. So they post a lot of funny shit.
I've never had a Fireball.
I
It just doesn't sound good to me. I don't like hot or spicy drinks. Whatever flavored is cinnamon flavored.
Nah, it's probably not up your alley then.
Yeah, no, not up my alley. There's Fireball at some of the trick or treating houses over the weekend, and they were like, "You want Fireball?" I'm like, No, but I'll have that beer.
There you go. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out what things I'll need, what I'm gonna want to eat. But these guys have an epic aid station too. I dare say maybe a little bit better than Anchor Down because they are having like all kinds of hot foods. Like, what are some things? There's different kinds of soups. They're gonna have grilled cheese, apple crisp. I'm like, ooh, all these sound really good to me right now. How I feel later about eating it, I don't know yet, but I'm pretty excited. They're going to have a good spread.
Speaking of Anchor Down, Maurice, the panda man.
Yes. Way to go, Panda. All right. So he just did the Javelina 100, which I always just want to call the Javelina Jundred just because that's how they spell it. But he just got his first 100-mile buckle. And you know who else was there? There was Chris and Paul, who usually do Anchor Down too.
I saw that. Were they there running the race, or were they just supporting him?
I think they ran it. But Lori was there, I think, crewing.
Okay, cool. It's
so
kind
Lori
of a cool.
Is gonna do.
It's kind of a cool little group they got. You know, it's like their own little ultra community between like the 5 of them. You got Lori, Chris, Paul, Maurice. Am I missing somebody?
Hannah.
Hannah.
Hannah. So I guess well, I think that Paul and Lori are married. Chris he goes to all those races, so I think he made friends with Paul through doing all these 100-milers together. And then I want to say that Maurice was trained by Lori, if I am correct. Don't quote me on that though.
Mm-hmm.
But depending on how Hamsterwheel goes for me, I might seek her out and try to get that Anchor Down 100-mile buckle next year.
Do we have like a limit? Is there like a point where you're going to be like, okay, I'm not going to hurt myself to do an extra 40 miles? Or do we have like, is there a line we're going to tow or not tow here? What's your game plan?
I don't know. If I am in a lot of physical pain and I cannot like even walk anymore, I will call it. But if it's just me against my mind, I'm gonna fucking do it. That 100 is mine.
All right. Nice. I like it. So I think I'm going to bring the camper. I'll confirm with you tomorrow.
Okay.
I got to do some, I think, when can I be there Saturday morning? How early?
I'm planning on being there at like 7 a.m., but I think you can set up as early as like 5 a.m.
What time does the race start?
30 hours starts at 9. My race is at 9:15, and then 9:30 is the remainder.
So I will actually be there. If I drop the camper off, I'll be dropping off in the morning, but I won't be there in all day. I'll be coming at night. Yeah. So
that's totally fine.
Support crew. Who you got? Is Katie and Shauna going to show up?
Not sure. They said they're going to stop by if they can. I might have Rachel come by because she was thinking of doing some miles with me, so she might do the early shift. I can have a pacer after 5 p.m. Then we got Karen. Yes. Karen said she was going to stop by, so I'm going to you know what, you guys should coordinate because you said you would run some. So whoever's going to take like a morning shift versus a night shift.
Well, you know what I'll do? You know what I'll do in the dark now? I'll wear my new running vest.
Do it. I have mine too.
What was it called? What did I win? I won it. What was it?
The Nox Gear Tracer vest.
I got a Nox Gear.
Light thing.
Do you have a waist light yet?
I have. Speaking of Nox Gear, our girl Sarah is an ambassador for Nox Gear, and I got a sweet discount using her link. And I got me one of the Tracer, like it clips right into your front buckle, so it's like a chest light. And you can swivel it. And so I'm going to try that out this weekend.
Nice. Mm-hmm. All right, cool. It'll be fun to...
Pretty pumped.
It'll be fun. I'll be there at night. I will be there at night. I might be there early in the morning, and then I'll come home and hang out with the kids. But hopefully Rachel...
Can I just tell you how cool... I just have to say how cool this race is going to be. This is like a super chill atmosphere. And I got their race email yesterday, and they were saying that they're going to have a DJ... Because this is at like a campground, so they're not really disturbing anybody.
Well, it's at the New Boston Fairgrounds.
Fairgrounds, yeah. Yep. So there's going to be a DJ. There's going to be karaoke. Like, where have you ever heard that at a race? And that's awesome.
This sounds like a race that Justine and Nicole would have a lot of fun spectating at.
Right? I was telling Karen, she's like, "Oh, I might do it next year." I'm like, "If this is really that cool, I'm going to be a repeat customer." But they're even doing like movie night from like 10 p.m. on. Is it? No, maybe it's like 8 p.m. 8, 10, nope, 10, 12, and 2. They have like Step Brothers, Office Space, and there was another one in the middle. I was like, this is awesome. Probably not going to watch them if I want to have any chance of getting my mileage, but nice to know that they're doing that. So,
well,
pretty
awesome.
sweet.
We will talk about it next
Yeah.
week when hopefully you can hopefully you can at least sit up after the race and we can talk about it. So,
dude, another random thing. I just got a new bed. In addition to it being king size, which is awesome.
nice.
We got like the kind of like old people adjustable base. You know what I mean? Like you can tilt your head and stuff, but you can tilt your feet up. And I think that's awesome. So I'm going to be like laying in bed all on Monday with my compression boots on, elevated, trying to get some life back in them.
We can just you can record from bed.
If you tell me, I will make sure it happens. I'll just I'll have to like crawl to the mic.
We're coming to you
sure
virtual. Erika is in bed.
Hey, if that's how it has to happen, that's how it has to happen. So,
well, awesome.
good stuff.
Everybody, this was a wicked fun episode. I think you and I were just rolling with it. Last week was so difficult.
Fun.
Well, remember last week it was so difficult. We're trying to like come up with what are we going to say in the open and the close, and we were hitting a wall. And today we just keep going and rolling, and we could probably keep rolling. But it is 9:30. I need to make sure.
It's earlier than it was last week. That's the key. You got me when I'm still like awake.
That's
so
right.
There you go.
I got to go downstairs real quick, clean this house, and then I'm going to edit and piece this thing together. So everybody, thank you.
I'm going to go crochet because I crochet now.
You what?
That's my new hobby. I crochet. I'll send you some pictures. You can put them on the gram.
You like a weird old lady now?
See what happened? I got the old person bed, and now I crochet. Although I make these cute little stuffed animals, so maybe I'll knit one for like.
I know what I'm getting you for Christmas. I'm going to get you a walker.
Actually, I could probably use that next week. So if you could get that quicker, I'd appreciate it.
Should we do Christmas gifts?
If you want, let's set a limit though.
Well,
nothing big.
Okay, let me think about this. It might be like something fun, not like something you go to the store and get, unless it was podcast related. But like, I don't know. I'm thinking of something now. Maybe I'll print you something on the Cricut machine.
Ooh, okay. All right. Yeah, we'll talk later. It's still early, even though I want Christmas. It's not quite there yet.
Cool. Well, I expect those lights behind you on the wall to be Christmas lights next week when we talk. And you won't see any
Actually,
from us.
those don't change, so but my Christmas tree will go up real soon.
We're actually, well, you got a fake Christmas tree. Come on, go cut one down.
Yes. No way. My cats will eat it.
Ashley wanted to like maybe get a fake one because we're going to Disney the first week of December and we won't even be back to like the 12th. And so she goes, when are we going to get a Christmas tree? And I'm like, the worst case scenario, we'll go buy a real one that's already cut. But I like to go cut my Christmas trees. So.
Plenty of time for it though, dude.
Cool. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for listening. Thanks for being a part of our Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We are going to do it again next year, and it's going to be bigger and better. So we can't wait for that. But we got 11 months before then to bring you some amazing interviews, some amazing stories. We're going to get some big people on. We're going to get some fun local people on. We've already talked to a few who said they want to come on. So Christmas is coming up. We're going to get these out when we can. And then January 1st, when that rolls around, we're going to be full throttle for season 2 of On the Runs.
Can't wait. So excited.
Awesome. Remember, you can follow us on Instagram at On the Runs. Oh, we didn't even talk about Instagram because I got disabled. We'll talk about that later.
Perfect.
They said I violated community guidelines. I'm like, what community guidelines did I violate? Turned out to be just a glitch.
They lied.
Yeah. Cool. One other thing. If you do listen on Spotify or Apple, I've never asked for this because I never really even thought to ask for it. But then it kind of came across. If you want, give us a 5-star rating or 4-star rating. If
Oh,
you think
please,
we're a
yeah.
4-star podcast, give us a 4-star.
Be honest.
Yeah, be honest.
But really, we're 5-star people here.
And we got that one review. It was kind of good. I like that review we read. So I get these emails now with these updates. And I'm like, oh, I should mention it. So yeah, you follow us, give us a like or give us a 2-star. Hey, if we're 2 stars, give us 2 stars. I'm not going to be like, don't do it.
Constructive criticism, right? We need it. We can't improve if we don't know about it. So
That's right. And you can email us if you think we need to work on something. So, hey, thanks for listening, though. I really appreciate every one of the listeners we have, and it is growing, and it is really cool to see it grow. So, Erika, thanks again for doing this. This is so much fun.
all right, everybody, you guys know the drill. Don't forget to stretch.
Did you see the highlight from the NASCAR race on Sunday?
No.
What?
Are you kidding?
It
No.
was all over. It has like over 10 million views right now. Everyone, even if they're not a race fan, seen this except for you. Everyone has seen Top Gun in this
Apparently.
highlight except for Erika Hamill.
Sorry. Send it to me later. I'll look.